DoorDash has partnered with Klarna, which is a buy now, pay later service, to allow people who are struggling, maybe it's tough times economically. When you buy your $30 sandwich from wherever the fuck, your $30 burger from Five Guys and Fries, you don't have to pay for the whole thing right at once. You can be paying for it on Friday when you're eating something different.
Okay, so like normally like stuff like this, I'm like, okay, whatever. But this is the most dystopian thing that I've ever heard.
What the fuck is this? This is from Fox Business. Okay, it's the first link that came up. Klarna, a buy now, pay later service, announced on Thursday a few weeks ago. It's partnering with delivery service DoorDash to offer flexible payments for those whose paydays may not line up with their cheat days.
Oh no! What?
Oh no! In just a few months, DoorDash customers will be able to take advantage of Klarna's accommodating payment options while purchasing groceries, retail, and Dash Pass annual plan. When customers check out, they will see Klarna as an additional payment option. They can then choose to pay in full, pay in 4 equal interest-free installments, or pay later. Which, by the way, how is Klarna making money if it's all interest-free? They hold your money for you, or it's like maybe DoorDash is paying them because it means more sales. The move comes after Klarna last week announced its revenue last year increased 24% to $2.8 billion, and nearly 1 year after the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau cracked down on buy now, pay later lenders, announcing it will impose similar regulations on BNPL lenders that apply to credit card companies. We're excited to partner with Klarna to enhance the convenience we offer, including flexible payment options for our Dash Pass annual plan, the most affordable way to order on DoorDash with added streaming and ride benefits at no extra cost, said the DoorDash head of money products. Flexible payment options are essential to meeting our customers' needs. Essential. Yeah. The company expands its offerings from food and groceries to beauty, electronics, and gifts.
So our generation has gone into debt for many things, but like this like if you can't afford DoorDash, you shouldn't use it.
Just don't use it.
And I'm normally like pretty libertarian about these things, but I feel like this should be illegal.
I've had the weed discussion with a lot of people in my life, and that doesn't go over very well. I've had the keep the video game time to a limit, and that's only gone so well. And I've had the credit card discussion lots of times, and just recognize a basic fact that something can be perfectly fine at the individual level, where you go, yeah, okay, it sounds like you got this thing under control. But then when you zoom out, you're like, wow, the average credit card balance for a family is $12,000 in the United States. Things in the macro can become a really big problem. Where you're like, okay, this guy seems to have his drug habit under control. I don't know. But then you're like, wow, we have a lot of drug habits that aren't under control.
It's like, wow, this guy has $10,000 in DoorDash debt.
Nina comes from she lived with her dad in high school, and they didn't have money. And she did like the bills with him every month, and it was like a dire situation. And she really, when you go through a period, maybe people out there can relate. When you go through a period of time where you don't have money, and like there's actually it could be a serious situation where you don't have the money. I don't think it doesn't go away. Like you don't like you can have a really good income after that. And like that scarcity mentality of like, I better plan in case the fucking roof falls down. So she heard this and like she didn't think anything about it was funny. She didn't share like a chuckle with it. She was like, this is the worst fucking thing I've ever heard in my life. I saw some news story about it, on the news, like on YouTube. Everybody knows that it's hurting at the grocery store lately, and Klarna wants to help. I'm like, you're not helping. Lower the prices. I don't think. What do you mean you're helping? I'd pay later on something that like you need right this moment that you'll need again tomorrow.
And DoorDash, like if you're buying DoorDash, it's like so inflated because you're paying for
That's the second thing I want to say. There's so much like hypersensitivity around talking about money. Remember the time I said that he didn't have FU money and we had to do a whole thing. We had to take everybody to school shortly afterwards, pull out a fucking chalkboard and do napkin math and be like, here's how, money is something that occurs over time. And so if you turn off the spigot, like it'll become as though you had less overtime. Variety posted a thing about how Elijah Wood says his Lord of the Rings pay was not big enough where you could rest easy for the rest of your life. Orlando Bloom once said he was paid $175,000 for all 3 movies. Sean Astin, $250,000. Wood said it doesn't matter because the value Rings had over his life is priceless. And he said because we weren't making one movie and then negotiating a contract for the next, it wasn't the sort of lucrative scenario that you could sort of rest easy for the rest of your life. And he said, Wood said New Line was able to take a real gamble in part by offering not massive salaries to the actors. It all seems like a reason. He's like, yeah, it wasn't that lucrative, but it was a priceless thing. This was posted on Facebook. I got people on Facebook being like, "This is laughable. Multi-millionaire, maybe not enough for his lifestyle. Clueless and tone deaf." I'm like, if you got $200,000 one time to work for like what 4 years on that project,
it's a $50,000 salary for 4 years, and then you don't know what's happening after that. It wasn't guaranteed that Lord of the Rings was going to be a hit either.
So here, yeah, so it was everybody was gambling on that thing. So here's my point. There's all this sensitivity. Ooh, don't talk about finances. And because everybody's broke and you're not being sensitive to their finances and stuff. And then I come to find out they're using DoorDash.
Yeah.
I'm like, if you use DoorDash, you're paying like $25 for a sandwich.
Yeah.
Like for lunch. People like, I don't know why you would do that. I hear everybody complaining about, yes, the price of eggs and the price of whatever and all this, everybody's complaining about prices and, and Nintendo Switch and fair enough. Like I'll join you. And I'm like John Hunt. I want prices to be lower too, but you're using DoorDash. I mean, it's like the most absurd luxury. And you know what? We're going to have somebody in the comments, who's going to be like, I have to use DoorDash.
I have to.
Somebody's going to have some reason that's like, I wouldn't, but I have to. I'm like, it didn't exist like 6 years ago. I have to. I never use it because I had one experience with DoorDash. We were in a hotel. We wanted food delivered. And I think I got like a pasta or something. And Nina got a salad. I remember it tasted like cigarette smoke from the car.
She tastes like cigarettes.
That's the worst thing, because sometimes we do grocery delivery. We'll do the Instacart because, like, I don't know, sometimes we just don't have time to do that. If they're a weed smoker, your groceries smell like weed. If they have powerful cologne, like if they're spraying themselves with the Axe body spray, it's on your groceries. It's just crazy. It's crazy how quickly those smells just absorb.
You don't want foreign odors in your food. You're meant to be so sensitive to people's finances, and then you find out, are you really not that broke? Because you're using DoorDash, bitch.
Yeah.
How many video games did you buy last year, bitch? We're in Massachusetts, just for fun. These are average annual expenditures, okay? You interested in this?
Yes.
Coffee, that's the one that like everybody's very like, don't tell me not to have coffee.
Cut that out. I'm going to tell you right now. I don't care how much you enjoy Starbucks. You cut that out right now.
That one's $907. So I'll tell you, I'm like, all right, well, that's really, if even on a lowish salary, like if coffee's your thing, you can carve out $1,000 for your coffee a year, but you should know it's $1,000.
Yeah.
Alcohol about $1,012. So if you're a coffee and alcohol person, now you're $2K in. Beauty products, $1,215. Streaming services, $945. Now this one's big. This one actually, I was like, oh, that's where actually most of the dough is, literally and figuratively. Dining out, $4,800. The average person.
Wow. Yeah. So my wife and we don't dine out at all. I make all of the meals, and that's why I have so many dishes to do. By the way, gotta wash all those cast iron pans. We don't eat out at all, and that's where we save a lot of our money. We don't get DoorDash. Like I get DoorDash probably like once a quarter. Like if I'm like so tired after work, I just can't even like cook.
You'll get a Q3 DoorDash.
Yeah, I'll get a Q3 DoorDash. This is my Q3 DoorDash. And I usually have a coupon. Like I'm such a I'm such a cheapskate too. But yeah, so I make all of my meals, and that's where I mean Anna stays at home with the kids, so we live on one income. So
right.
And we do it. It's easy.
Yeah. You ever afraid like you'll break your arms and can't like man a camera again? Right?
Yeah, I'll just as long as I have one arm to use the mouse, I can at least edit.
So again, these are all Massachusetts numbers. So if you're in North Carolina or something, you're probably not seeing numbers like these. The average rent, if you rent, it's $39,600, and if you're doing mortgage, it's $56,900.
No.
It's a lot of money. It's a lot of money out the door. I mean, that would require, right, like either an okay income or two incomes.
Yeah.
Car expenses. I don't know why this was lower than I thought. Maybe it makes sense. 13,575.
I wonder. Yeah. I wonder if just people aren't buying as many cars nowadays, or is it you already bought the car and these are expenses to your car?
Yeah, that's the idea. You know, and generally that's like car payments because almost everybody finances a car. Not me. I'm sure I'm leaving out some common expenses like credit card but the total of all of those with rent, $62,000. The total with mortgage would be $79,000. So,
wow, that's a salary. That's a big salary.
Yeah, obviously the housing is what's fucking you the most. Mm-hmm. Or if you can somehow like get way ahead on a car, but yeah, you know, the dining out matters, and you do not need a $50 egg sandwich. That's for sure. That's just so funny, man. Like they complain about the price of eggs, but then like, they buy an egg sandwich from Panera Bread
for $25 on DoorDash.
Crazy. Truly. I mean, look, I can afford an egg sandwich, right? Like I don't buy them. I don't do the DoorDash thing. It's too. I was telling Nina when she was looking at the prices, she was like, "I don't care if you're a billionaire. It's like you cannot buy these." She's like, "Donate the money at that rate. It's a waste of I always say, I'm like, sell it for whatever you want, Panera. Do as many financing fucking silly gimmicks as you'd like, Klarna. But people, don't do it. Don't actually do it.
Don't do car payments for your egg sandwich, please.
Like when I was a kid, I think cable TV, if you wanted like Nickelodeon and Comedy Central and some of those, I think it was like $10 to $15 a month back then. And I remember being like, why can't my parents do this? And they were just like, that's not a necessary expense. They were like, we're not a cable family. Like we're not, some families are, I guess. We're not one of them. Like we're gonna save money in sensible ways. And I feel like commodities, like because I'm sympathetic to the idea of like, oh yeah, I guess you do have to have an $1,100 phone now. Of course you don't. You could do a $300 Samsung or whatever. But the point is that there are these high dollar commodities like internet, like data that are kind of non-negotiables now. But I think that makes us fall into a trap where we buy all kinds of other unnecessary commodities. Like you don't need even one streaming service, right? So right. Like, I gotta have my streaming service. When I was a kid, it was just like, you don't get to watch Doug. And but yeah, somebody in Discord, they were like, whenever we went to the movies, we never had soda and candy. That's fucking ridiculous. Mm-hmm. And they're like, we might get a small popcorn for the whole family, like on a special occasion. The most important thing he said, he was like, and we didn't feel deprived. I think it is an addiction a little bit, the commodity service thing,
I do remember that in my childhood, like asking for all the candy at the movie theater and being like, they're like, no, because it is expensive. I
remember being like at an amusement park and seeing like all these other kids with like whatever like carrot, like a Mickey ice cream or something like that. And I was like, that looks sweet. And they're like, you're not getting that in a trillion years. Like, there'd be like a kid with like a fake lightsaber, maybe a balloon, a character balloon or something. I'm like, no fucking way. Like, that's like a $10 balloon. Absolutely. Even, because I think now like the logic so often is, we came all the way here to get into the park was $50. Let him have his balloon. It was like, no, they didn't let any of that shit go.
I'd gladly pay you Tuesday for a hamburger today.
Oh, wimpy. Your FICO score alone won't let me do that.
Oh.
Subscribe to Red Cow Entertainment on Patreon for full episodes every other week.